Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur. So let's get ready. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. So let's talk about this because Diddy's alleged drug mule, Brendan Paul, has accepted a plea deal in his felony drug case, and he's absolutely going to avoid all jail time. Okay? This comes 2 months after he was arrested on the tarmac next to the rapper's private jet, okay, in Opelika, Florida, at the executive airport. So let's get into it. And, might I add that I am not surprised at all because actually, this is what I told you I was going to happen. Now, what has Brandon told the police? What has he spoken on? Okay, I just want to know. So, Diddy's alleged drug mule, Brendan Paul, has accepted a plea deal and will avoid jail time. 1 month after he was arraigned for a single drug case, for a single drugs-based felony charge, shall I say, okay? Now, Paul, who's 25 years old, was arrested by Miami-Dade police alongside Homeland Security agents at the airport. Now, this happened on March the 25th, the same day as those raids on Diddy's properties in LA and Miami and also New York, which for some reason the media fails to really talk about, the one in New York. But this was at around 4:30 p.m., okay? And he had in his possession marijuana candy and that Coca-Cola, okay? Please pay attention. Now, officials at the time said they had found that the suspect had Coca-Cola and the laced candy, like I told you, and this was in his luggage, all right? Now, however, the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office later dropped the marijuana charge. And so last month, his attorney, Brian Bieber, entered a plea of not guilty on his behalf. Now, Bieber told TMZ on Thursday that Brendan accepted the prosecutor's offer to permit his entry into the diversion program, which after completion, the case against him will be dismissed in its entirety. Okay? In its entirety. Now, a representative for the Miami-Dade State Attorney told the publication that this was a standard offer for a nonviolent defendant with no priors who was arrested for a possession case instead of a rather much more serious trafficking case. And that's interesting because from what Lil Rod said in his lawsuit filings, basically, it sounded like Brendan was doing some trafficking, right? That's what it sounded like. But anyway, let me continue. Brendan has enrolled in a drug diversion program that's going to last for around 6 months. Now, if Paul completes the course without any issue, that is, there is absolutely no jail time, not even probation. Okay, I just want you all to pay attention. I told y'all this man was going to start singing like the Mississippi Mass Choir. He's not built for that life, and anyone could see that. Okay, college student, someone who played basketball in school and was good at and all of that, trying to get into the music industry by serving as Diddy's assistant and all of that. But at the end of the day, Diddy got him wrapped up in this. He was probably trying to do what he could do, hoping that he would get, put to the level of where he wants to be. But sadly for him, he's taking a fall. So anyway, it goes on to say that Paul was referred to as Diddy's drug mule and a $30 million lawsuit that Lil Rod Jones filed against Diddy, whose real name is Sean Combs. Now, the complaint is one of 5 against Combs since November, and he's been alleged to be involved in acquiring and distributing drugs. And here's the thing. Now, I'm talking about Brendan. Brendan was alleged to have been acquiring and distributing Diddy's drugs and as well as his illegal firearms and all of that. Okay? And so he's basically going to get off scot-free as far as I'm concerned. Now, whether Paul's arrest was connected to allegations in the lawsuit or to the raid on Diddy's properties was not confirmed. But Jones claimed in the lawsuit that he personally witnessed Paul acquire and distribute drugs to Diddy and his entourage, and to transport or intend to transport these drugs in baggages on flights. Okay, specifically that little black bag that we saw him pictured with. Now, an arrest warrant obtained by thedailymail.com says that Paul admitted to having the drugs in his luggage as law enforcement intercepted him at the Miami Opelika Executive Airport on March the 25th at approximately 4:15 p.m. He wrote the flights were between Los Angeles, Miami, Virginia, and the Caribbean, and London 3 times in December of 2022, April of 2023, and November of 2023. Now, so they could easily have charged him with trafficking, having been able to, substantiate these things. But when they caught him, he just had that Coca-Cola and he had those marijuana candies, and they chose to drop that one for whatever reasons. Now, members of the enterprise and their associates procured, transported, and distributed ecstasy, Coca-Cola, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, mushrooms, and this was all done by them packing these substances in their carry-on luggages and going through TSA. Okay, now this is what Lil Rod alleged in the lawsuit filings, which I find all very interesting. So Mr. Jones says he personally witnessed Brendan transport firearms to and from nightclubs, strip clubs, and other venues for Mr. Combs on his person in Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones personally witnessed Mr. Combs distribute firearms out of his own bedroom closet to individuals that Mr. Jones knew to be members of local gangs. He also attached a photo of Brendan Paul holding prescription pill bottles with a black pouch sitting on his lap. Now, Brendan Paul is videotaped with one of the black pouches, okay? And Christina Coram required the associates and members to carry them, according to Lil Rod, saying that this pouch was filled with ecstasy, Coca-Cola, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, mushrooms, and Tusi. Mr. Combs required Brendan Paul and Mr. Jones to carry his firearm on their person whenever they were out, right? And that was in the lawsuit as well. One of these occasions, Mr. Jones says that he was required to carry Diddy's firearm, and basically Diddy recorded himself coaching Jones on how to solicit the SEX workers. Now, Jones worked with Diddy most recently on his album, the Love album, Off the Grid. Okay, and we already know that. We already know how all of this stuff transpired. But what's interesting to me is that he's not going to get a single day in jail and not even probation. Yeah, I find it all so interesting. Please pay attention. And now y'all know I went to school for criminal justice. So here's what I can tell you just from my own knowledge. Okay, so if you're convicted of felony possession or distribution of a controlled substance, you could absolutely face a lengthy prison sentence. And there may be other severe consequences to being involved, in these activities that could in fact impact you for the rest of your life. Because being charged with drug possession in itself can be very intimidating and also a complex process that could involve multiple court dates in front of a judge that doesn't have any empathy or sympathy for you. But, they might have sympathy for someone who looks like Brendan. Please pay attention. That's all I'm saying. So at the end of the day, he's not getting any jail time, folks. And that leads me to more specifically think that maybe he was in there singing like a canary. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And another thing to keep in mind is, in the U.S., after October the 1st of 2013, a new sentencing scheme was enacted, basically to show minimum sentence, maximum sentence, and mandatory parole for certain drug crimes. So basically, if you got caught with like a level 1, that carries a minimum sentence of 8 years and or a $5,000 fine, a maximum sentence of 32 years and or $1 million fine, and a mandatory period of parole after 3 years, right? Of 3 years. So, like I said, he got the best deal possible. I'm sure he was skipping all the way home after this. Okay, but now mind you, the diversion program isn't going to be or shall I say his charges aren't going to disappear completely until he successfully completes the diversion program without any types of issues. And also, if he has given information to the police, the feds, or anyone, at the end of the day, that has to all check out. You see, because when you take a plea deal and you give information, well, all they have to do is find out that you lied about anything, okay? And then the deal goes down the drain. It goes down the drain. So please pay attention. With that all being said, yeah. I pretty much think that Brendan was in there spilling all the tea, Okay, because I told you all he's not about that life. Young man who went to a private school during high school, who went to college, who played basketball, and who also served as Diddy's assistant. Okay, and another thing I want you all to pay attention to is the fact that they say a representative for the Miami-Dade state attorney told the publication this was standard. Okay, basically saying this is a standard offer to a non-violent defendant with no priors who was arrested for a possession case instead of a much more serious trafficking case. Let me tell y'all something. That's a whole load of BS as far as I'm concerned. Because here's the thing. We know how they get down in Florida. Okay, they have very strict laws there. Okay, especially as it pertains to drug possession. Okay, and here's another thing. So it's absolutely true that they do give a standard offer of a diversion program for non-violent defendants with no priors. But guess what? The key word is that's for people with misdemeanors. Okay, this dude was charged with a whole felony. All right, he got a whole felony. And so a felony drug charge in Florida, you're going to tell me they want us to believe they think we're going to fall for the fact that a person who was charged with a felony possession charge is going to get no jail time and not even probation? Yeah, I'm not falling for it because that is not the norm, okay? That is absolutely not the norm. The norm would be to offer that as a standard, like I said, for someone with non-violent and no priors if they had a misdemeanor. But with a felony, no, that's not how that goes, okay? No consequences, no jail time, no probation. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, like I told you, any amount of Coca-Cola under 28 grams, even if it's just simply residue, you can get a felony charge in Florida, okay, according to the state statute. Now, with that all being said, the punishment for such a charge could include 5 years in prison or probation. All right? That's the standard. 5 years in prison or probation. At the end of the day, honey, if he's getting no probation and no jail time, and they're trying to tell us that it's because he got a non-violent offense, yeah, that's what they do for misdemeanors. Okay, so miss me with it. At the end of the day, I absolutely believe more so now than ever that he definitely snitched. Okay, he gave up some information, and the bottom line is we're not going to know because that's not going to be posted for public, for public information. All right, so we're not going to know anything about it. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that's what he did. Okay, so they can miss me with it. With that all being said, yeah, Mr. Brendan Paul was likely singing like a mockingbird, as well as the Mississippi Mass Choir. Okay, you got a whole felony drug possession, and you mean to tell me you didn't get nothing, and we're supposed to think you kept your mouth shut? Yeah, I don't believe it. Not in the least. So let's just sit back and see how the cookie crumbles and how the chips fall, okay? Because Diddy, yeah, he's going down. I just want you to pay attention to how nobody's really fooling with him right now. Except for Meek Mill, who was defending his son King Combs just days ago, if you remember, and Stevie J. Let's not forget Stevie J, who's been trying to go in head to head against 50 Cent because 50's been trolling Diddy, right? Because you know how petty he is. But check out this video of Stevie J. This is also hilarious.
Hi, monster on the beat, ho, Debo, any rap nigga, he a freak throw, man down, call like Amber Lambs, tell him breathe, bro, nail a nigga to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni ass niggas trying to see Compton? The industry can hate me, fuck them all and be mama. How many options you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body, I'm John Stockton.
I absolutely cannot, honey. Stevie J needs to sit down somewhere. Now, he was clearly doing the most. But what I want you to pay attention to is the fact that he was really dissing 50 in that video because that's not the song that was playing, okay? The song that was actually playing was that little whack auto-tune song by King Combs, okay? That's what he was playing. And y'all know I wasn't here for it. So I just switched out the music. That's what I did, okay? So at the end of the day, looks like, Stevie J says Diddy's his man, and I'm standing by him. Okay? That's my man, and I'm standing by him. And Meek Mill has clearly said the same thing as far as I'm concerned. All right, so they didn't have to come out and literally say it, but just by their actions alone, they're clearly showing us their allegiance to Diddy. And at the end of the day, the funny thing is, neither of them really have anything going for themselves at this point. I mean, Mule, he's going through his own set of problems, okay, after being exposed. And people said all these things about Diddy calling him daddy and seeing him in that pool and other things that have come out. And him doing the bunny hop and lying and talking about he made that up in prison. Nobody's checking for him. And nobody has been checking for Stevie J since when? Okay, since when? All right, Faith is not even thinking about him at this point. And so I just want you all to pay attention. But this is what it is. So everyone, please drop me a comment to let me know what you think about all of this. Do y'all think he sang like a mockingbird? Do y'all think he spilled all the tea? Or do you think that maybe, just maybe, he got off scot-free because of his complexion? Because, he does absolutely, let's not forget, have the complexion for the protection. All right, so with that all being said, I will talk to you all later. Until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.